Bloomington Tower, Cessna 8255 Zulu, ready to go at the Gulf 1 intersection, runway 20.
Cessna 8255 Zulu, Bloomington Tower, runway 2 at Gulf 1, clear for takeoff. Northwest departure approved.
8255 Zulu, roger that, cleared for takeoff, Northwest departure approved.
I get a lot of questions about how I utilize aviation. Over the last several years, I've had the unique opportunity to speak to groups really around the country, and that's allowed me to utilize aviation in a lot of different ways. Now, I can tell you many times it involves companies like Southwest and United, but for around the Midwest, I prefer a company called Cessna. My aviation experience starts out as a young man. I was always fascinated with space and the space shuttle as it first started flying as I was growing up. But where I really got the bug was my Uncle Steve. And he moved out to Central California in the late 70s. But during the 80s, as I was a teenager, he'd always fly back in his various aircraft that he owned. And I was just jumped at the chance to jump up in the right seat and experience aviation. My dad also had the bug of aviation, as he got to fly a few times a year, all the time it seems like, but one was his banker had an aircraft, and Ernie would take my dad up every year to go look at the crops. And you know, quite honestly, that's one of the things you really get that bird's eye view when you're flying across the Midwest at 2,000 or 3,000 feet and look out the window. You can see so much. But for me, that aviation bug started early. I got my pilot's license about 20 years ago, and you fast forward to today, I've had two different aircraft. I had a 182, which was one of the most common aircraft in the country, until my last airplane that I still fly now, and that's my Cessna 205. A few years ago, or maybe about 4 now, I started really looking. I really knew I wanted another airplane, wasn't really sure what, and my roles have kind of changed here, but I've done a lot of speaking around the country, and you know what, it's really handy to have a nice economical airplane where you can travel right throughout the heart of the Midwest. My good friend Martin out in California told me when he knew I was serious about an aircraft, he's like, I've got the plane, you need to buy my old Cessna 205. I really had no idea what a 205 was. They only made them for a couple years, in 63 and 64, and then in 1965 they became the Cessna 206, which they still build today. What makes a 205 unique is it uses the fuselage from a 210, so it's got a really big cabin. Like a 206, like a 210, it seats 6 people. Now, typically, we have seats 5 and 6 out of the airplane just so we have a lot more room. Also, aircraft are all about load. And if you don't know much about aviation, just because you have 4 seats doesn't mean you can haul 4 grown men. That's the thing that's nice about a 205. It has a tremendous useful load, if you were, or workload. And it allows you to put 4 grown men in it, have a bag or 2 with you, and still be within the operational envelope of the airplane. I've had this aircraft now for about 3 years and really have flown it all over the country. And I can tell you it is a fantastic airplane from a utility standpoint. We've done some upgrades on the airplane. We've updated LED lighting all the way around the aircraft and added the safety of a new strobe system as well. We've also added some aerodynamic features to it, vortex generators. And they're a little glue-on little piece you put down the leading edge of the wing and up on the tail and the rudder, and really enhances the performance of the aircraft, especially at slow speeds. And that was a real welcome addition. I've had there's a group I'm on Facebook of 205 owners, and a lot of those guys are like, Chad, just put this on your plane. You won't regret it. So I did. I put them on, and that was a welcome addition. And then obviously when you get inside the aircraft, well, you can see really quickly that it's been Colbyized, if you would. And thanks to Garmin Aviation, it's really got the most state-of-the-art systems. From the center display, it's called a GTN 750, which integrates with the transponder and brings me real-time traffic, real-time weather, puts it right on my display. And then it also has the capability then to put that onto an iPad simultaneously as well. We also have this suite of digital gauges as well. We've got a Garmin G5 attitude indicator and the Garmin G5 HSI. Now, I can tell you for my aviation geeks, the best part about adding those systems is the airplane became a lot more reliable. We were able to remove the old vacuum system in the airplane. Both of those instruments have a 4-hour independent battery backup for safety, which is tremendous, and it's really enhanced the safety and capabilities of the airplane. As far as other things we've done to the plane, we've kind of sleeked up the outside as well. We've got some new wheel pants that are a lot more aerodynamic, and the biggest change we made was the prop was getting due, or it needed a new prop. and I decided to go with a little bit out of the ordinary, and I put on a carbon fiber prop from MT Propellers. And believe it or not, it took almost 14 pounds of mass off the crank of the airplane, and this thing is a performer. It works really well. With cruise now, I'm somewhere just short of 140 knots at altitude. We burn 14, 15 gallons an hour, and that is fantastic. And like I say, range on the aircraft is about 4 hours. Typically, at that 3-hour mark, we're looking for an airport and on the ground in 3.5. It does have standard fuel tanks, which is too bad. I wish it had the long-range fuel tanks, which that's something we might address in the future. But we've took the time to really go over this airplane with really a fine-tooth comb. It's got a lot of updates as far as accessory drive and starters and plugs and mags and all those things that keep an aircraft really current. But I just wanted to give you a little background on the Cessna 205, and I can tell you it's an amazing aircraft. I've had great luck with the airplane and really look forward to having a busy year this year with it. It's going to be I'm going to be in Denver. I'm going to be on the West Coast with it, East Coast. We've got a lot of trips planned throughout the year here in business, and it's such a great tool for that, especially in the heart of the Midwest where I'm not climbing over mountains every day, obviously. So I spend most of my time somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 feet, depending where the winds are more favorable or least favorable. But I've really enjoyed it. I put about 300 hours on the airplane now, actually a little bit more than that. And it's been an absolute joy. So just a quick rundown on my Cessna 205. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. We certainly do our best to post some videos and do all those fun things to share aviation, because really that's what it's all about. Been up to Oshkosh the last couple years. Certainly we'll be back up here this coming year as well. But like I said, it's a fun airplane, turns a lot of heads. A lot of people wonder, what is that thing? And I based the airplane here in Bloomington, Illinois, right in the heart of the Midwest at the Central Illinois Regional Airport. And I got some room in my hangar, so if you need a place to spend the night with your airplane while you're traveling through, just don't hesitate to reach out. So thanks, guys. Again, if you got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Also want to give a big thank you to a lot of people that kind of helped me in aviation. Certainly my Uncle Steve, my buddy Martin out in California, Eric, my buddy in Indiana, Greg over in Indiana. Just got a lot of friends in aviation that really help when you got questions and have problems, if you would. And these guys they do an amazing job. So anyway, have a great day, guys. Thank you very much.
Cessna 8255 Zulu, Bloomington Tower. Roger, runway 2 at Gulf 1 intersection. Cleared for takeoff. Right turn out east approved.
Cleared for takeoff, right turn out approved. Cessna 8255 Zulu, Roger.